Good morning, guys. Today I'm in a Kia e-Niro. Yes, it's an electric Kia with a range of around 450 kilometers, claims Kia. And I will drive this car today from Warsaw, Poland to Zakopane, which is a ski resort around 420 kilometers from my home. So I've just unplugged the car at home, and we'll see how far it takes us. We'll see whether I experience range anxiety. We'll see whether I will have the opportunity, or rather the necessity, to test the charging infrastructure in Poland, which, well, it's growing, it's developing, but we'll see how it goes. So I will give you updates every half an hour or so. I'll tell you how I plan this trip and what I plan to achieve, and what are the constraints, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed. That in Poland we hold our thumbs, and in English we keep our fingers crossed, so fingers crossed. And yeah, I'll see you in half an hour. Oh, now you see all these cars going past me, and that's no accident, because in order to drive 420 kilometers from my home to the ski resort of Zakopane, I decided that I will stick to the speed limits religiously, or even go slower. Now, why am I talking about sticking to the speed limits? In Poland, people generally don't drive according to speed limits, and we tend to go 10, 20, 30 above the limit wherever. However, this is not right, and that's number one. And number two, in order to keep my energy use within reason, I decided that I will drive no faster than the speed limit, and possibly even slower. So at the moment, the speed limit according to the sat-nav is 100 kilometers per hour, but I'm driving about 80. The fastest I've driven so far, because I'm on the other side of Warsaw now, or on the other side of outskirts of Warsaw, the fastest I've driven so far was about 100 kilometers per hour on a ring road where the speed limit was 120. Now, there was a sign 70, so I'm slowing down even below 70. And yeah, the good news is that the roads are empty today because it's Sunday, and I'm going sort of against the traffic. So even if people will be going back from the resort, they will be going in the opposite direction, so I won't have any traffic. I will be able to use this car's coasting and energy recuperation abilities. However, the big problem is the last about 100 kilometers, which is clearly up the mountain. So we'll see how that goes. I have to keep my energy consumption probably well below 14 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers in order to have the chance to drive the last 100 kilometers up the mountain. Should I have to recharge earlier, I can do about 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which would mean I can drive much faster. However, I want to get to the hotel, or maybe rather to the charger, which is in front of the city hall in Zakopane. So yeah, I think we have another 375 kilometers to go. My range is 387. So far, so good. See you in half an hour. What you probably see right now from the 360-degree camera cutaway is something which is called the Mushroom Hut, and it's a landmark restaurant that you probably don't want to eat in. Actually, I've never tried it, but one day I will. It's just the whole Mushroom Hut thing that puts me off. But that's just me. Anyway, what's my status? Good Lord. I had 14 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers there for a moment, so I better slow down. The speed limit on this stretch of road is 120, and this guy was going much faster. I'm going 110 kilometers per hour, more or less. I have overtaken several cars, believe it or not. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it at a reasonable speed. I think I'm averaging about 70 kilometers per hour since I left home. Again, most of it was ring roads and dual carriageways like here. So this is not a motorway, by the way, by Polish standards. Hence 120 kilometers per hour. Motorways, we can drive 140. So this is a dual carriageway, what we're on right now. Let me talk about the charging infrastructure in Poland and why I'm actually doing this test here. I realize that EVs are not designed for long routes, they're more for city driving, and I'm totally fine with that, so don't hate me. However, when an electric car company, well, a car company that makes an electric car like the Kia e-Niro here, says that this car can do 450 kilometers, I would like to put this claim to the test. I think I've taken sort of reasonable precautions, reasonable assumptions that I will drive slightly slower, but I want to see how much of this I can achieve without being a total nuisance on the road. I mean, I'm not hyper-milling here, I'm not overinflating my tires, I'm driving normally, more or less, maybe slightly slower than normally. I'm driving like a grandpa. And the charging infrastructure in Poland, it's developing, and the big news here is that for about 300 kilometers I have no fast chargers. Well, I may have just passed one, but it's too early to use it anyway. So for the next 250 kilometers, there is no fast chargers. There are only several Type 2 chargers on my way. However, most publicly accessible Type 2 chargers in Poland don't have a cable. You have to bring your own cable, which it so happens we don't have. Kia didn't provide me with a Type 2 charging cable, so I couldn't even use those. The moment that we have to make a decision will be Krakow. In Krakow, there are a number of fast chargers, including Greenway fast chargers that I have a, let's say, membership account with, where I can charge the car. And from there to Zakopane, it's about 110-120 kilometers up the mountain, and there are no chargers there whatsoever. I think there is one Type 2 charger maybe 20-30 kilometers before Zakopane, but the Type 2 charger, first of all, requires a cable, and secondly, it requires another registration to another network, and I looked for it and couldn't find it. If there is an emergency, then we'll improvise. All I have is a regular 230 volt socket charging cable with me, which means I would have to charge the car for God knows how long, and oh my god, it's 14 kilowatt hours again. Slow down, Marek, slow down. That's my report for now, and yeah, I'll see you again in another half an hour. By the way, 320 kilometers to our destination, 344 range, so I'm still cautiously optimistic. Another half an hour has passed, and we just passed the Jastrząb, try to pronounce that, Jastrząb, track, where people go for truck days, like today, on a Sunday. Now, our energy, I wanted to say fuel, energy consumption has grown significantly. I'm now doing 14.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is substantial. However, this is not because of the speed, it's because of the incline. So we started first of the two climbs. This is a long climb and rather gentle climb. However, it is, I think, a couple of hundred meters that we're climbing over the next 100 kilometers or so to the city of Kielce, and from Kielce we'll be going downhill to Krakow. So this is where I expect the energy use to fall, and then the biggest incline, which is I think 300-400 meters, will be from Krakow to Zakopane, and this will be the most challenging one. However, over there we can use also recuperation on some of the downhills, because the road, although it is going uphill, there is up and down all the way, so there is a lot of opportunity for energy recuperation. Let's see, I have a range map here on the screen, and according to the map I am well within range, so I should be able to reach Zakopane on a single charge if I don't do anything stupid, but I'm not sure whether this map takes into account the differences in inclines or just the distance. I think what it looks like that it just takes into account the distance, not the challenging conditions. Now, SatNav is showing me 270 kilometers to our destination, and our trip computer is showing the range of 297 kilometers. So we are still well within range for an electric car. If this was a petrol car and you saw that you have like 20 kilometers, you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna stop in a minute. But in an electric car, 20 kilometers range, come on, that's a whole day's driving around the city. See you in half an hour. And we're back, just passing the city of Kielce on our left here somewhere. I've got about 240 kilometers to our destination, and the range is 256 kilometers. The terrain is rather hilly already, so I'm currently using 14.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Now let's take a moment to talk about the car, the Kia e-Niro, which starts at 35,000 euro in Germany. That's for the 39 kilowatt hour battery, which gives you less than 300 kilometers range. Then there is the 39,000 euro model with a 64 kilowatt hour battery, and that's 455 kilometers of range according to WLTP homologation. But if you take a car with better spec, it will put you up in around 46,000 euro range. So this car, for example, it's got heated seats, it's got adaptive cruise control. For some reason it doesn't have head-up display. I've seen a well-spec'd Hyundai Kona EV, it already had head-up display. Judging by the fact that these are not full leather seats, this is probably some mid-spec. So for example, I don't know whether it's got a heat pump or not. The top spec definitely has a heat pump, which helps you conserve energy when you have to heat up or cool down the car. Basically, it uses the difference between the outside temperature and the cooling agent inside, and that's how it's physics. I know nothing about physics, guys. Is this car visually different? Slightly, ever so slightly. So in the front, instead of a grille, you have a sort of just a plastic front, because obviously there doesn't need to be much cooling of the electric motor. All the air is going in from underneath. There is a flap in front to access the charging port, and again, it's not marked in any way. So if you take this car as a rental, you will have to figure out where it is by yourself. Inside, the center console here is slightly different. There is a gear selector, a round gear selector, and there's some storage down here, a lot of storage here, and cup holders and all that sort of stuff. So that's slightly different than the regular Niro. The boot, I don't have exact data. From what I measured, it's about 350-360 liters above the floor, and there is another couple of dozen liters under the floor. There are styrofoam trays there, but if you remove them, you can probably regain at least another 50 liters or even more. One thing I noticed is the ground clearance, and that's probably lower than in a regular Niro, because when you stand from the side, when you look at the car from the side, from a bit of a distance, you can see the battery pack actually sticking out from the normal body. So the ground clearance is definitely lower. Same thing in Kia e-Soul. I tested a few weeks ago. Link somewhere around here if you want to watch that. Okay, so we've got 252 kilometers range left. We've got 61% battery charge, and the range map is showing that I should make it to my destination, which my destination is, according to Google SatNav, 233 kilometers away. By the way, why am I using Google SatNav on my smartphone rather than using Android Auto? Well, I want to access all the EV settings, all the EV monitors and stuff like that. So if I were using Android Auto, I wouldn't have access to those. I would have to leave Android Auto all the time to get to those. So for the sake of this journey, I have everything stuck here to my windshield. Also, another thing, I want to see my speed limit, and for reasons I cannot fathom, Kia didn't put speed limits on the digital instrument cluster. It's only on the SatNav screen, which I wouldn't be able to see if I had EV settings on. Why, Kia? Why? You have a whole digital instrument cluster. You can put anything there. You can put pink elephants there, or the speed limit. Okay, so we had a bit of a pit stop on a gas station, but obviously we didn't refuel, and we didn't charge, and I think my camera is dying, or I'm not sure whether it's space on the card or whether it's a battery. I will have to check it out. So sorry, we don't have visual on the cockpit. Anyway, our pit stop was to stretch our legs, to eat a sandwich, refill our coffee cups, and that sort of stuff. It took us about 20 minutes, which is probably what such a pit stop would normally take. If there was a charger within these 20 minutes, we would probably regain about 80, 100 kilometers of range, because it's the charging is much quicker when the battery is emptier. This is why car manufacturers give us the charging time from 0 to 80 when it comes to fast charging, to 80%, because the last 20% can take ages. And anyway, it's not recommended to always charge up to full. I have 202 kilometers range left, and we have 182 kilometers to go, so it looks okay. The current consumption is 14.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So the other battery died as well, the other camera, so I will have to stop and probably recharge them. Talk to you later. Okay, so we are slowly approaching Krakow, the old capital of Poland, the medieval capital of Poland. I've got my cameras back up, the GoPros. The battery ran out. Ironically, the GoPros gave up before the car. So anyway, in Krakow there are several fast chargers which I could use. However, it seems that we've got 130 kilometers to our destination and still 162 kilometers of range. I think we could actually make it. So let's give it a try, shall we? By the way, we have seen a tow truck. It overtook us a couple of kilometers earlier, so we're perfectly safe. There is a tow truck ahead. And we are climbing. This road here is called Zakopane, which is a road to Zakopane, basically. And we've got 85 kilometers left and 130 kilometers range. The current energy consumption is 14.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and I am taking advantage of the fact that it's a hilly road going up and down, and I can use energy recuperation. Now, Kia e-Niro, Kia e-Soul, and Hyundai Kona EV, they have a recuperation system which is, first of all, radar based, and second of all, you can also use these paddle shifters. Radar based, if I put it in auto, and if a car starts slowing down in front of me, my car, the e-Niro, will also start applying regenerative braking and recuperating some of this energy. And if I'm going, say, downhill, I can apply one of 3 levels of regenerative braking, and it'll obviously recuperate some of the energy. A couple of kilometers ago, I had this long sweeping downhill, and within maybe a kilometer, I've recuperated more than 3, I think, on just one downhill slope. So that's pretty good. As far as my state of mind is concerned, I'm actually quite excited and optimistic, because when I was leaving Warsaw, I mean, I knew the specs of the car, but there were some stretches, or rather long stretches, of dual carriageway where I knew I would drive faster than it's economical. And then there's the uphill climb, which you can see in front of me, that there is still a lot going on. I'm recuperating as we speak. I didn't know if it's going to be feasible. So when I arrived in Krakow with something like 140 or 150 kilometers range, OMFG, I feel like a little kid before Christmas. You know, I know there's something interesting around the next corner. As we are driving higher and higher up in the mountains, the weather is deteriorating, which you can probably see on the GoPro pointing front. I've just completed a series of very sharp bends, twists going up the road, and we are now using 14.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is still well within my budget, let's say. We've got 71 kilometers range and 31 kilometers to go to the hotel. By the way, the hotel doesn't have charging facilities. I mean, I could probably ask them to let me use a 220 volt socket in the garage, but I will rather go somewhere into town where there are now 2 fast chargers. One is free for now in front of the city hall, and another one is a kind of network greenway, I think it is called. Interesting thing, I've seen a Tesla behind me a few kilometers back. I think it was a Tesla Model 3, obviously not a Polish car, probably from Denmark or somewhere, driving even more conservatively than I was. So obviously the guy wasn't from Poland. Anyway, let's hope I will get some dry weather as well. And yeah, I'll probably see you in Zakopane. And we made it to the hotel. 420 kilometers, almost 6 hours to the minute, which gives us an average speed of about 70 kilometers per hour, which I think is reasonable, taking into account that we were going through urban areas where we did have to slow down to 50 kilometers per hour. Of course, I did drive slightly slower in the faster sections, but still, we made it. We still have 40 kilometers range left, so there's no problem to go around the city and look for a charging station. It's not like we have 1 kilometer left and that's it. And now I'm going to the hotel to enjoy the views, despite the fact that it's raining, but I can see the mountains. There is no fog, it's just a bit of rain, and then I'm probably going to enjoy a big beer. And if you want to watch more of my videos, subscribe, click that bell icon to be up to date with everything I post. And if you have any questions regarding electric cars, the e-Niro, or how to drive, what was my strategy and everything, in case I didn't explain everything here, drop me a comment below and I will see you later. Thanks for watching. And afterward to this video. Firstly, I used a free charger in front of a city hall. There are a number of free chargers across Poland, usually close to some public administration offices, but they are not fully operational yet, so you don't get full power. Also, on the first day, there was a Tesla charging there on the Shademo side, so I was unable to start CCS charging until the Tesla unplugged. So keep this in mind if you're planning to travel in an EV across Poland anytime soon. Secondly, on the next day, I drove almost 200 kilometers in the mountains, hence these drone shots. I confirmed my suspicions that climbing in an EV doesn't use that much energy, especially since after every peak there's a downward slope on which you can use region braking and get back some of the energy you used. Thirdly, I returned to Warsaw going at full legal speed, and this confirmed my next suspicion that speed is what kills electric range the most. After over 100 kilometers of slow downhill drive, I lost maybe 40 kilometers of the range, but during the remaining 300 kilometers with speeds up to 120, I used up whatever I saved and more. To sum up, the Kia e-Niro does have 450 kilometers or more range, as long as you keep it below 110 kilometers per hour, and if you want to drive faster, plan quick charging along the way. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.